with you in 1 minute now, just getting organized. Meditation's coming. Let's get some light on. Just let me pull this closer. Yeah, meditation's coming. Be with you very shortly. I just have to do a few little things to make sure everyone is getting to see what, that everyone's connected. If you are watching on Instagram and you want to do the meditations more regularly, somebody was saying to me that it's probably better to do it on YouTube, to subscribe to the YouTube channel Further Emergence, and then when I go live it will let you know, and you'll know when I'm live. So yeah, that's something to think about. If you're watching on Facebook, I'm going to have to turn you off for a minute and then I'm going to turn you back on again. So I'll be back in 1 sec on Facebook. I do that to break up the feed. Meditation's coming, be with you very shortly. Now, I'm going to take a chance here and just start, because I always wait for you for Facebook and it's always there, and the first part of the video is just me going, waiting for Facebook. So, how are you? How's the day going? Good? I hope it's good. It's fine if it's not. Not every day goes well, but I hope it is. I hope you're having a good day. We're going to do a bit of meditation now. This isn't a class, it's just a chance to meditate together. It's part of the Further Emergence work I do, these meditations, these daily meditations. And if you're interested in Further Emergence, I'll explain what that is when we're finished the meditation. But for now, if you are familiar with meditation, if you're an experienced meditator, brilliant. Can you hang on for a minute while I explain what I do, just for the benefit of people who are new to meditation? There's lots of different styles of meditation. This is what I do. For me, it starts with why I would meditate. I'm trying to connect with the part of me that I connect to every night when I go to sleep. Not the dreaming bit, the bit after dreaming. So I'm dreaming and then I drop at the bottom of dreaming into deep dreamless sleep, where I have no thoughts, no memories, no feelings, no emotions, no personality, no body really. No bed, no bedroom, no nothing. I don't even have me. I cease to exist, certainly in the way that I normally register my existence. So that all sounds awful, doesn't it? That sounds like death. Yet I love going to sleep. And when I wake up, I feel refreshed. So some part of me knows that wherever I go to, it's a good place. And that's where I want to go to when I meditate. I just want to do it consciously. So straight away, if you're new to meditation, don't try this lying down, because chances are you'll fall asleep. And if you don't fall asleep, you'll battle sleep, both of which are very counter to what we're trying to do. So I'd encourage you to sit up. You don't have to sit in a lotus position or anything like that unless you're comfortable sitting in a lotus position. I'm just sitting in a chair. If you're sitting in a chair, make sure it's not a big comfortable armchair that you might fall asleep in, because you're back into the same thing. So, as I said, I've got no thoughts in this place. It's like a place that my mind has to wait outside the door of while I go into. So I have to figure out a way of working with my mind, a way of, parting the curtains of my mind to get into this place. So what I do is I just make a deal with my mind. I make an arrangement where I say, could you just not think for the next 15 minutes because I want to meditate? And my mind is like, yep, fine. Been here before, know the story, know the drill. Yeah, that's no problem. Having your mind on board is an important thing. If you're new to meditation, your mind will be on board because it's exciting and different and new and interesting, and minds love that sort of thing. It only becomes a problem having your mind on board, or you only experience resistance if you're trying to meditate regularly. So I'm not going to go into that now, just to say that it is important to have your mind on board. I can answer questions about it later if you want, if anyone's curious. So my mind is on board, good. Next thing, stop thinking. That's actually not that hard. It's hard to stop, because regardless of what I'm thinking about, which would be the content of my thought, the structure of my thought, that's always the same. It's always pictures and sound. So if I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, that's it, I'm not thinking. So as soon as I do that, I'm into the practice of meditation. Now, the practice of meditation runs parallel to the intention of meditation. And the intention of my meditation is to go to this deep, mysterious, still, profound, I'm trying to think of all the other words they use to describe meditation, Zen-like, calm, peaceful, you know, that place. The practice of meditation runs parallel and starts pretty much as soon as I stop thinking. And it generally kind of goes, I'll turn off the pictures, I'll turn off the sound, so I'll bring my mind to not thinking. Then some time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I go, oh, thinking again, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass and I discover I'm thinking again. Oh, thinking again, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass, I'll discover I'm thinking again, and so on. So it's pretty simple. The practice is pretty simple. Every time I discover that I'm thinking, I bring myself back to not thinking. And it's important to know that thinking can happen in meditation, because it's easy to get the misconception that to meditate correctly, you can't be thinking at all, which isn't the case. These two things, the practice and the intention, they go together and they sort of do a little dance together. Sometimes you'll be very still and deep and peaceful, and other times you'll be discovering you're thinking. And both are powerful in their own way. It's kind of obviously powerful when you're very deep and still. You can feel changes in your nervous system. You can feel like you're descending and going very deep. Feel like you're going somewhere. But it's also very powerful when you're discovering that you're thinking. It just doesn't feel like that. Because where the power is, right, is if you're like me, the sort of things you think about are all to do with you. They're all from your perspective. So I'll be thinking about, why did I do that thing? What am I going to do about that thing? Why did that person say that thing to me? Why did I say that thing? And so on. If I'm in the middle of one of those thoughts, and I'm in the middle of meditation, and I go, oh, I'm thinking, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Indirectly, what I'm saying to myself is, you know that thought that you just had, the one that you thought was you and that you were it? Well, you just made it disappear. You just made it, poof, gone. So you're obviously not that thought. In fact, you're not any of your thoughts. You're something else. That's very powerful. And then the fact that you do that repeatedly is very powerful as well. So the main thing is not to add to your thinking by thinking about how you're doing at your meditation. If you're thinking about how you're doing at your meditation, you're thinking. So you need to turn that off. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. There's no right amount of times that you should be bringing yourself back from thinking, because it changes from day to day and hour to hour. You could meditate in the morning and have to bring yourself back from thinking loads of times, and then you could meditate in the afternoon and you might not have to bring yourself back from thinking that much at all. One is not better than the other. They're both the same. So the golden rule is, every time you discover that you're thinking, bring yourself back to not thinking. If you do that, you're doing great. Now, while all that's going on, I'm also letting go of tension in my body, or I'm becoming more conscious of tension in my body. So I scan my body from my head down to my feet and back up again, very slowly, very gently. Anywhere I find tension, I let it go. And I use my out breath to let it go, because it's natural to just breathe it away. But then it's also a good way of becoming a bit more conscious of my breathing. So as soon as I'm thinking about my breathing, I breathe a little bit more deeply. That's good. It also helps me not hold my breath in meditation, which is quite easy to do, or stop breathing altogether. Having a nice quiet room is very helpful as well, because as soon as you close your eyes, your hearing is going to amplify. And one of the things that triggers thoughts is noise. So quiet room is helpful, because it less things to trigger your thought. And the other thing is, as I'm scanning my body from my head down to my feet, I'm spending a little bit more time on any structures in my body that go across or transverse, because structures that go mostly my body runs longitudinally, head to toe. Any structures that go across They operate a little bit like a log going across a stream. You know, they pick up the twigs and the branches and anything that's coming down the stream, except in my body, that's tension. So I'm spending a little bit more time on my eyes, there, a transverse site, my jaw, my tongue, the base of my neck, my shoulders, all my joints, they're transverse sites as well. So shoulder, elbow, wrists, fingers, my heart area, my respiratory diaphragm, all my intestines, my pelvic floor, my hips, my knees, my ankles, and my toes. Then lastly, the other thing I do to help my mind have less things to think about is I set a timer for how long I'm going to meditate for. Now, I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, but I'd encourage you to set yours for 5 minutes if you're new to meditation, and then repeat that 3 times and sort of build up to it. And if you feel like you can do the 15 minutes, don't rely on my timer, because sometimes the internet drops and I don't want you to be left there. All right, so just let me get my timer sorted. Okay, off we go into the mystery. Okay, if you feel like you've gone very deeply inside, then take a minute to come back from there before you open your eyes. Or if you feel like you can hold the inner space and the outer space at the same time, then you can just open your eyes. And if when you do that you feel like you lose the inner space, it's fine. You can just close your eyes again, reconnect with the inner space, open them again, lost it again, close them again, and so on until you've equalized the inner space and the outer space. You can use your eyes like a valve. As I said, these daily meditations are part of the Further Emergence work I do. Further Emergence is to do with growth, inner growth, growth in consciousness. You could call it spiritual growth, growth in awareness, all that kind of growth. Because your body pretty much stops growing when you become an adult, but you keep growing on the inside. That continues on for the rest of your life. You only have to think about who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You can see it. You can see that you grow. You continue to grow. And just like when you were a child, you might have had periods of accelerated growth in your body. You know, they're called growth spurts, colloquially. They happen on the inside as well. You go through inner growth spurts and they continue on for the rest of your life. And if you'd had growth spurts as a child and you'd gone to your parents and said, "Oh, I've got pains in my legs," or wherever you had the growing pains, your parents would have just said, "Oh no, they're just growing pains. It's fine. You'll just grow. They'll pass. It's natural. It's fine." It's not like they would have rushed you to hospital or anything like that, or even to the doctor. It can be harder with inner growth spurts, particularly, if you're 30 or 20 or 40 and you're going through a period of accelerated growth on the inside. There's a much bigger space there to feel like it's not natural and there's something wrong. So the Further Emergence work focuses on those inner growth spurts, and the idea is to help navigate them and help make it easier. Because it can manifest in all sorts of different ways, it's not like there's, that's how you know you're going through an inner growth spurt. It can manifest in lots of different ways, confusing ways. You can feel very isolated with it. Almost overnight you can go from everyone gets you, you get everyone, everything's brilliant, your life is not perfect, but you sort of fit in your life, to feeling like you don't fit in your life and you don't really recognize your life, or you don't recognize yourself in your life, and nobody gets you anymore and you don't really get anybody. So you can feel quite isolated with it. You can have physical symptoms as well. They can be there as well, and all sorts of different, confusing sort of things. So the meditations are one of the things I do to help with that. How they help is the more familiar you are with your inner landscape, the easier it is to navigate inner growth spurts. Then there's a Zoom group every week, Further Emergence Zoom group. That's on Fridays, 8 o'clock Irish time. You're very welcome to come. And they're a combination of more in-depth meditation, some reflection, some questions and answers, because I've been through it myself, Further Emergence, many times, and I've helped lots of people through it over the years as well. So it's helpful for that. And then it's also just the fact of being in the group and going, oh, okay, I'm not the only one here. I'm not the only person going through this. These people are going through something very similar. That's really helpful as well. So if you're curious about the Zoom groups, you can look on whatever channel or platform you're looking at this on. If you look back through the feed, you'll see the videos from the Zoom groups to see what they're like. And then the audio from those Zoom groups go to make up the Further Emergence podcast. So if you're a podcast person, maybe that would be more suited to you. I also work with people one-to-one, like directly. That's a combination of in front of the scenes and behind the scenes kind of work, where in front of the scenes it's talking through what's going on for them, and then the behind the scenes work is where they kind of go and lie down and I work on their system energetically behind the scenes to help harmonize the process, even out the bumps a little bit. And you can read testimonials from people who I've worked with. I don't see a lot of people. I only do it twice a week, so I only see up to 8 people, so it's not there might be a waiting list. And then I've written books. I've written 4 books, all roughly around the subject of Further Emergence. So they're there as well. So if you're still with me, if you've watched all the way to the end, if you're still at this point, you're still watching, then maybe something is resonating with you. Maybe some part of you is going, yeah, there's something to this. So I would encourage you to let that part of you let you know what the next thing for you to do is, whether that's just, keep doing the meditations, whether it's go and look at the video from the Further Emergence group, or listen to the podcast, or come to a Zoom group. The link for that is on the website, furtheremergence.com, or get in touch for some one-to-one work, or read some of the books, or none of the above. That part of you that's encouraged you to keep watching, it'll tell you what to do. It won't tell you what to do, but it'll, indicate what, a strong suggestion of what to do. All right, so thanks very much for meditating with me.